All right, so how do we know Google understands your site? Well, it's quite simple. If you pull up Ahrefs, you pull up anything, any of these SEO tools, you put your site in there and you look at what keywords you rank for. If those keywords are not the keywords you were expecting or the keywords you wanted, they do not understand your site and they are probably confused. So how do we fix that? Well, you have to go back to the basics of SEO, making sure that your pages are structured around keywords and that your users also understand exactly what your pages are also about. A lot of times we see like branded headlines or a bunch of weird things that are kind of amorphous, and it's really hard to understand what your website is about. And if someone cold, a random person off the street can't go to your website and understand what you sell, what you do, what your product or what your service is, then you're already in the wrong spot, because I guarantee you Google cannot. Google is not a great guesser. They are in an insanely expensive algorithm crawling billions of pages a day. However, they are ultimately just parsing your page. They're looking for your HTML structure. They're trying to look at all these different clues as cheaply as they possibly can to understand what your site is about, what you're selling, what your service is, what your product is. How much of an expert are you on all those different things? It's really critical that we just make it really simple for Google to understand and for Google to crawl. That's where we're gonna come up with terms like crawl budget, which is the amount of resources that Google allocates to your website to crawl on a regular basis. If your website's big, has a ton of traffic, a bunch of diversified traffic, then yeah, you're gonna have a much bigger crawl budget. If you have way more SKUs than an average site, you're gonna have a bigger crawl budget. But if your site's brand new and starting out, you're gonna have a very low crawl budget. So you have to be very efficient with how you're basically structuring your content on your page. You have to be hyper focused on your meta tags and your title, or your meta descriptions and your title tags. Your URLs have to be so dead on. Your H1s have to be there. You have to make it simple. Always start simple and then figure it out from there. But focus on the very key basic SEO areas, which we're going to cover in the next few lessons here. But it's really, really critical, because Google is just trying to crawl and digest your site as easily and as cheaply as possible, because Google is just a business. And guess what their costs are? Their resources, their servers, their bots, their crawlers, ultimately, to crawl your pages. So if you make that cheaper for them, they will reward you over and over again.